U.S. President Donald Trump insists the ceasefire he helped broker between Israel and Hamas remains in effect. The two sides blamed each other for breaches on Sunday. Israel struck targets across Gaza after it says Hamas militants killed 2 of its soldiers. Hamas denies it was involved. According to Gazan health officials, dozens of people were killed in the Israeli airstrikes.
Running for cover from an Israeli strike on a house in central Gaza. Further south, the city of Khan Yunis, once again under attack, less than a fortnight since the ceasefire began. And familiar scenes at Nasser Hospital, with children among the victims of renewed Israeli strikes. With the crucial Rafah crossing on the Egyptian border still closed, there's little let-up in Gaza's humanitarian crisis.
There's often no food or drink for the children. We have no diapers. I have orphans to look after, and nothing to feed or care for them.
Israel says it retaliated against attacks on its forces in the south of Gaza.
We are prepared for any scenario. This blatant violation of the agreement by Hamas has been and will be answered by a firm and powerful response by us. We will continue to act with determination to safeguard the security interests of the State of Israel.
Despite the breaches of the ceasefire, both sides insist they remain committed to the truce. Also in Khan Yunis, construction crews search for the bodies of hostages thought to be buried under the rubble of destroyed buildings. Families say the war will not be over until the last of the remains are returned.
18 families are still waiting to bring their loved ones home for a proper burial, to say goodbye and to find peace. We will not rest until every family has that final moment and the chance to begin healing.
Diplomatic efforts to implement Donald Trump's peace plan are set to resume. A top-level U.S. delegation led by the Vice President J.D. Vance is expected in Israel this week. And Hamas says its chief negotiator will travel to Egypt for more talks.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump says his diplomatic delegation will be in the region to, quote, check on how things are going. Here he is speaking with reporters on Air Force One.
We want to make sure that it's going to be very peaceful with Hamas. And as you know, they've been quite rambunctious. They've been doing some shooting, and we think maybe the leadership isn't involved in that, you know, some rebels within. But either way, it's going to be handled properly. It's going to be handled toughly, but properly.
Is the ceasefire still in place?
Yeah, it is.
DW's Ben Fazulin is following events for us from Jerusalem. Ben, President Trump, they're saying Hamas leadership may not have been involved in the violations, and the group says it remains committed to the ceasefire agreement. What more do we know about yesterday's violence, then?
Yeah, this is the biggest test to the ceasefire deal yet. Nicole, we're talking about an extremely fragile ceasefire, also a vague deal in so many circumstances, and an explosive situation here. There were strikes across the Palestinian territory conducted by Israel. Israel saying that it hit dozens of Hamas targets. Reports, though, of dozens of Palestinians dead, including children. Israel, though, says that the ceasefire is now being enforced. So it sounds like an on-again, off-again situation being described by the US Vice President, J.D. Vance, as being something that, comes and goes. I mean, it's a really tricky situation and hard for us journalists as well. We're not allowed into Gaza to find out exactly what's going on. But Trump was referring there to the rival gangs and families that are vying for power at the moment. It's the perfect time for them to try to mark their territory when it comes to the Hamas leadership. And Trump also referred to the Hamas leadership. It said that it is committed to the ceasefire, but it's saying that its communications have been cut off for months to the south to any remaining units there, and that it's not in control and is not responsible. The other thing we have to mention is that this is a Trump-branded ceasefire. So the US president wants to see this through.
You mentioned J.D. Vance there. He's actually expected in Israel tomorrow. Trump's envoys, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, will be arriving in Israel later today. Do we know what's on the agenda?
This is exactly why Mr. Trump has sent his top envoys ASAP to the region, and according to Israeli and US officials, they're arriving here today in the region. Top of the agenda is going to be ensuring that that ceasefire continues, keeping the peace and keeping the ceasefire deal moving. That's the difficult part. At the moment, it's stuck in first gear. To get into second gear, it's going to have to start looking at some of these vague terms and ideas under President Trump's 20-point plan. There's a lot to get through and various phases. And in this second phase, they're going to have to work out who are going to be the international peacekeeping force that will come in to make sure that things are okay. The Palestinian policemen who have been trained to secure that peace, and also this transitional government. It's important that the Palestinians lead in this circumstance.
Part of the ceasefire deal was also that Israel would be letting more aid into Gaza. They halted supplies in response to Hamas's alleged ceasefire violations. Has the flow of goods into the territory now resumed?
There've been a trickle of trucks into the territory through other crossings. Problems, though, with far-right groups at the Kerem Shalom crossing, the main crossing that's said to be opening today, the Rafah border crossing. Hundreds of trucks lined up in Egypt waiting to get through at a time that is just essential, vital for the Palestinian people, with reports of malnutrition and starvation.
DW correspondent Ben Fazulin in Jerusalem. Thanks, Ben.